we all need trauma healing, because some of our trauma couldn't even be things that we live through. Like, thank you for your heart. When you're pregnant, the trauma that you go through, your baby feels, and I learned that yesterday very well, because when I read that, I'm like,
wow.
I'm so enormously happy all the time when, like, my pregnancy was terrible. Like, that was one of the most traumatic moments of my life. Like, going through everything after that, especially during it. He came out so happy and everything, and then he's doing well in school, and they actually diminished his services that he needs for school because he's doing so well. He got into trouble for something he didn't do. The librarian it was a misunderstanding, and he was so hurt and upset. And the special ed teacher, when she was explaining it to me, was that when she got to him and he was just crying because he got in trouble for getting something he was supposed to get, and the teacher thought that he had got the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And so he's crying and upset, and she had to hold him, and that's what finally calmed him down, like talking to him and do stuff. None of that was working until, like, she gave him these, and for us neurodivergent, that sensory, and he's very sensory, like his mom. So she said that she felt so bad because he felt alone, because the person in charge wasn't believing him. I'm like, that sounds familiar, because that's how I felt when I was pregnant. I felt alone. Even though, like, my coworkers were all giving me their horror stories about giving birth and everything, and then they gave me all these cards and all these gifts and stuff, but as soon as I went on maternity leave, it's just me and his father, and I was alone. Like, being there with his father meant that I was alone, and for him to be scared of feeling like he's alone when he's surrounded by people didn't technically make sense. But if you consider the fact that maybe that trauma that I had while I was pregnant moved on to him inadvertently, it makes perfect sense. And so when you see that, and you see all the other traumas that all the humans on this earth go through and pass on to their children inadvertently, if you haven't healed from it, like, I could still have trauma from my childhood and just not being understood, or I told the teacher, like, I've had instances in my school time that sound exactly like that, and that's why I wrote my book, trying to get over it, by writing the fictional version of it and trying to think through how to really put through all that stuff. And I didn't do the rewrite until way after he was born. So those things still weighed on me when I was still pregnant. I still haven't quite figured out how to get over it, even though I'm a teacher now. Like, technically I should be able to, but then on the other hand, my students are very different from the student that I was or remember being. First of all, they start school a lot older than I.
Yeah.
We didn't start school till kindergarten, and I had half-day kindergarten. My students starting at 3 years old. They're babies. So, my experience teaching them is different from the horrible experience that I had as a student. So I don't get to heal from that there either. Yeah, that's been. I'm only on chapter 3.
Yeah.
And it's been that heavy. And like I said, coincidentally, I started reading that right after Game of Thrones, which is nothing but fictional trauma. The whole book is
trauma. Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
Trauma. Like,
yeah, nothing but trauma.
Right. I'm like, yeah. I don't know why people suggested that to me.
Because people have trauma in their lives, and they want to see other people have trauma because it makes them feel better about their horrible lives.
Yeah. Like, when someone first suggested Game of Thrones to me, it was because they knew that I liked fantasy and sci-fi. Well, I was expressing how much I like sci-fi, and they're like, well, this is under that. I'm like, fantasy and sci-fi. In a way, like sci-fi is a form of fantasy, but um, it like to an extent, this really wasn't my cup of tea. Like the science wasn't there, the broader thinking wasn't there. It was literally going in the opposite direction. And I wanted to really finish it because I wanted to learn why people like it so I can be a better writer and write things that people are going to want to read. Because obviously I want to
People don't want to think. I could have told you that. They just want to feel.
Right.
That's why they like it. They don't want to, especially not right now.